Welcome to The Story, the podcast where we unlock the tales hidden within the lives of ordinary people. Join us as we delve into the depths of forgotten memories, dusty relics, and cherished mementos stored away in the corners of our lives. From heartwarming anecdotes to unexpected twists, each episode uncovers the unique narratives that define us all. Get ready to explore the hidden treasures of humanity, one storeroom at a time. Welcome to The Story, where every story has a place on the shelf. Hello everyone, my name is Noah and I'm here with Queer B, and we're both hosts of the Story podcast, where every story has a place on the shelf. And today we have some special guests, a power couple. So we have Michael and Shaz, short for Sharyne. Do you guys just want to introduce yourself to the camera?
Yeah, well, I'm Shaz. I've grown up in this church for over 10 years. And so I'm a familiar face, but also not a familiar face to those who are new to the church. But yeah, this has been my second family for a long time and been through a lot of seasons with various people in the church. So yeah, that's me. And
yeah, my name's Michael. 5'10", 100. I'm a newcomer here, so yeah, Sharyne's encouraged me to come along, and yeah, it's been the best experience since I've been here. So everyone's been very welcoming, so can't get away now.
You're stuck with us now. I love that. Yeah, well, without further ado, do you guys have your items?
I do, digitally.
Digitally. Yeah, you can show us digitally if you're all right.
Yeah. Okay, well.
We'll give you a moment to...
Mine isn't an item, but yeah, more of a
lyric?
A thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in the heart.
Yeah.
I like how it's a bit different.
So mine is the photo from my first youth camp in 2011, right? Yeah, 2011. And I don't know, every time I look at this, I just feel like so happy, and like it's been a journey since then, being that young. And
how old were you?
I think I was like 13.
13, oh
yeah,
my gosh.
So looking back, I just am filled with memories of like the journey of how I've been molded into who I am today. And yeah, it was such a fun time here. And I think that also really opened up my journey into my relationship with God and with the people here. So yeah, that's kind of been a really big memory for me. And yeah, how it's been a part of my journey as a person in both my personal life, business, in my faith, and in my family and friends outside of church. So yeah,
wow.
That's my item.
Goes to show that church has been a part of your life. Maybe forever, right? Yeah. Were you born into this church?
No, I wasn't. So I don't remember how exactly my family and I came into church, but I just knew for a long time. I remember our very first church home was in a hotel in Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
That's all I remember. And I remember going into a conference room with all these other kids, and I met Blesley, and we're like, do you want to be best friends? And so we're best friends till this day. And yeah, I've been on mission trips with Pastor Dong, her dad, and my family as well in my dad's hometown. So that's just been a lifelong memory for me with this church. Yeah.
Michael.
Mine is my tattoo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which camera should I show this to?
You got to show us first.
Yeah. So I have this tattoo. A cultural tattoo. Obviously, this is my flag here, and then we've got this line here, which represents my dad being the king, the leader. And then you have my mother who is beneath him, but obviously alongside him. And then you have my siblings here. That's my two twin sisters here, and then my brother and I here. It just symbolizes just us, just connecting us, you know. We all live so far apart. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to move over from New Zealand to Australia to kind of have this bigger bond with my brother, but it was like we had never lived away from each other. It was like we just shared so much in common when we had just first met.
Oh, so you had never met him yet?
Well, yeah, we never grew up together. I think at a young age, I had only met him a handful of times, maybe 4 or 5 times within about, since I was 15 that I had moved over to Australia. So it was pretty crazy to kind of see how much we had in common, considering we didn't really share much as children, so yeah.
I love that tattoo. What's your thoughts, QB, as an artist himself?
Yeah. Where did you get it done?
I can't remember the artist.
Here in Sydney.
Yeah, but it was here in Sydney. Yeah, we got in touch with someone, and I kind of he asked me about how I wanted my story to be represented, and you know, I'm very family orientated, so I wanted to. I think at the time it was just like with myself, my younger brother, my dad, and my stepmother living here. I think it was just, I based it off of that, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put my sisters in there, and obviously along the line, I'm looking to get some more.
I love how you mentioned your family, right? And I think we just wanted you guys to tell us a little bit about what your family looks like, and how did you grow up? What did it look like? What environment, and what your origin story is, basically. Yeah.
I grew up in New Zealand, so quite a small town called Palmerston North in New Zealand, which is based in the North Island. The second capital, Wellington, we're about an hour and a half away, hour and a half drive. So yeah, I grew up there with very little to offer. At a young age, I kind of come to realize that there is more to life than just what I'm doing right now. There wasn't much there, so it came from a life of just gang affiliation, no job opportunity. There wasn't really a future there for me, and I think at the time, being young, I just wanted to be seen. I wanted to be noticed. And I come to realize this at I think I was 11 years old, where I was confronted by a suicide. By the age of about 15, I knew my life wasn't going anywhere, and there was nothing for being offered to me. And I constantly questioned myself, like, what is life if there is nothing for me to chase or achieve here? So yeah, by the age of about 15, I kind of called my dad, and I bawled my eyes out to him, and I just said, I'm over it. Like, if you're not going to bring me over, then I don't know what else I can do here. I think he was shocked to the point where, like, oh, I can't take you, because my dad had me at such a young age. My dad had birthed me at 14. Yeah. So I think we share so much in common, being young, and I think him being dealing with the process of being able to take me away from my grandparents who had brought me up in New Zealand, and understanding that, like, I'm sorry that you had to look after him for so many years, but yet here I am taking him away. I think it was hard for him to kind of take me out of my grandparents' hands.
So your dad was here all along?
Yeah, my dad was here with my stepmom and my younger brother. My younger brother was here since he was 1 year old, and then my dad, I think it was 18 or 19, that had moved over here from New Zealand. That's what I wanted for my life, to just move forward and keep going. So
you were searching for something more than just what you were experiencing in New Zealand. Yeah. More life, more purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been fortunate enough to understand that I always look back. A lot of people say don't look back, but I always look back to understand where I came from.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
that's
love
powerful,
it.
Man. Yeah. Sharyne, you know, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I've been in church for a while, since I was really small. And some people remember me being really small, and so it was me and my older brother Aldrin, and my parents Cheryl and June, and my dad is actually blind, so he's been blind since I was probably 4 years old. I don't really remember much how that happened, but growing up, I had to learn along the way that, oh, my dad's blind, he can't see me, and I didn't have the time to process the grief when I was young. So even up until now, it's still hard to come to terms with, but he is also a big inspiration for me in terms of faith, and just everything that my family has gone through. And yeah, like, it is hard to talk about it, but I just want to say to them that I love my parents and they are exceptional role models to me, no matter, you know, whatever they're faced with. And yeah, they kind of help shape me into who I am and how I treat other people, and really mold my faith in facing life. So yeah, that's my story. So I'm proud that they're my parents, and I don't say that often enough to them, but yeah, what we've gone through as a family has really helped me become a better person, better partner, better friend, better daughter, better sister. So yeah, like, it was tough to grow up trying to process the grief on my own, because my mum and dad were, you know, my mum was taking care of dad more often, and my brother and I, because of our 8-year age gap, it was hard to kind of seek comfort and try to understand my emotions, and he went through his own journey when that all happened. So it felt like I had to navigate life on my own as a young kid, but again, I'm just very blessed that I have a community behind me, this church, growing up, because, you know, I made some lifelong friends, and, you know, I had mentors here that I could also turn to, even if it was hard for me to, you know, talk to my family about things. So for that, I'm really blessed to have that. But yeah, I guess me personally, growing up, similar to Michael, like, I've had my moments of depression and anxiety, trying to navigate life and, you know, the family trauma, but I also seek what I've gone through as a testament of, you know, God's, you know, place in my life, and I've gone through each of them and I've come out better. So it again has molded me into how strong my faith is, and whatever season that I'm faced with, like, I have my community here too. So yeah, that's kind of my upbringing, and yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. Just before we continue, I'm gonna get some tissues for you.
I was like struggling, like, ah.
I remember it was 2000. I think it's 2011 as well, where I interviewed you.
So.
Yeah.
For
For
a church
something,
presentation
yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised to see
Yeah.
him so independent, that he didn't succumb to his limitations, obviously, of being visually impaired.
Yep.
But he's a
Yeah.
tough one, right?
Yeah.
So what is your dad doing now?
So he does normal, like, we're blessed that he helped build our home, so he knows how to navigate around the house, and we have a beautiful guide dog, Sandy, who takes him out for walks, and has taught him how to catch the bus, catch the train, which is awesome. But Dad is really invested in his plants and gardening, and I think, yeah, it's crazy that he's so knowledgeable about gardening and plants, but he can't see what he's grown in the backyard. But again, I find that pretty moving, and in a way represents his faith. You know, planting seeds and keep taking care of it, the dedication he has to growing his garden. I think in the same way is his discipleship to God and his relationship with God, being intentional. So it's metaphorically kind of in that sense, which inspires me, and I think the community around him. So that's my dad.
I actually remember asking him a question when he was like tending to some, I don't know, like a plant. Tito, how are you doing? And he used it as a metaphor. He's like, Jeff, I was blind, but now I see. That's what he said to me. And I was like, that's like, I get goosebumps because there was so many layers to that, right? Like, what are you seeing that we cannot see?
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
There's so much. Anyways, and sorry, I was supposed to be.
No,
that's
I
fine.
love that. Yeah,
Sorry,
so
go ahead.
true.
Yeah. We're rolling.
Well, without further ado, Michael and Sharyne, right? You guys been together for a while now, but we've been seeing Michael quite frequently at church, you know, and we wanted to hear a little bit about what made you just visit one day and then come back another week and then continue coming back. What was it about this church? What was the process like for you?
Oh, the boys. Nah, it's I think my first instinct and experience coming here, just being so welcoming. We created this vision board. Sharyne and I had created this vision board, and on my vision board I had faith, just to reconnect and everything. I grew up being pretty faithful, and so I think finding my feet back again, I think this was my calling here. So I knew that it was important for me to be, I always reassured myself that you don't always have to be in a church to be religious or speak to God. But for me, I think presence is everything. So it's important for me to be able to be present here. So I'm always reassuring, like, we going to church today?
Yeah.
She's like, if you want. I'm like, yeah, let's go. So it's real cool. Like, I think when I was young, it was kind of one thing that I was trying to avoid. Do we have to go to church today? Whereas, this time around, I guess it's like, it's so important for me to just be here because it brings out the best of me, I guess.
Yeah. What made you, from, as you said, when you were young, to dreading it at times and just seeing it as another obligation, right, to now desiring and wanting to attend and be present? Like, what was the transition for you? Like, was it a instant? Was it gradual?
Bringing myself back to it all. I had gone through a year where I lost my stepmother. My stepmom had passed away. And I prayed day and night. And even when I prayed day and night, I asked myself, this is your fault. You don't pray. Like, why are you asking now? It's too late, or, And I constantly ask myself, why wait for that moment in time to want to ask for things or want to feel like you want to be more present or whatever. Don't wait for the moment to come. And I always live by this motto that I always tell Sharyne, and I live by, if I died tomorrow, would I be happy with the life that I lived? Would I be happy with what I left behind and what I gave and everything that I gave? So I think since I've been here, at Western Sydney, it's my mind's been more open to things, and feel like I've gradually becoming a lot more closer, giving up certain things in my life that I feel like I don't need, and just the growth is being crazy since I've kind of, since I've met Sharyne. She's brought me along here, so like I've said, it's only been up since then. So super happy about it. Couldn't be more happier. So
Wow. And I love that it wasn't just you and your individual journey, but it was also mixed with your journey as well, right? And I want to ask what it was like for you, right? You know, I mean, meeting Michael as well, but also journeying with him and integrating faith and church and all that. What was that like for you?
I mean, when we met, I think we were both going through our own individual journeys from the things that we faced in our personal life. So we kind of met unexpectedly, and we were still processing like the challenges and the obstacles we were individually going through, and just meeting him was really unexpected. Like nothing was forced. It all happened. It all came into fruition. And when it was time for him to meet my family, meet his family, and then now my second family, my church, you know, I just asked him like, oh, would you like to come to church one time whenever you're ready? You know, I kind of mentioned that it was important to me. They're important to me. They're a large part of my life, as we know. Then yeah, he just said yes, and that was his own decision. Like it wasn't gunpoint, like you gotta come. But like I prayed about it. You know, I pray for our relationship constantly, just to, yeah, for God to be in the middle. You know, when we go through difficult moments together, it's good to know that we don't have to carry the load ourselves. And obviously we share like a common thread of our upbringing as well, and I think that has helped us to grow closer in our relationship and, you know, continue to build upon our faith as well, to face life as a couple. So yeah, for me it's a blessing to know that he gets along with everyone. He's the favorite in the family. Yeah, it's just an answered prayer really from me, and I think I got more than what I prayed for, so yeah.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. And I think it's the same for our church family, right? I mean, you guys are our church family, and for everyone in our church, I think it's a blessing just to have you guys present. You know, even just to see your face is a blessing at church. And I guess that could be one of our questions, where it was you asking Michael of whether he was ready to see your second family, right? Church family. For Michael, like, what was it like for you in this idea of family and next to the word church, right? It's not used often, but how do you understand that for yourself? How do you see it?
I think I'm constantly reminded when I'm here, like, make sure she comes to church, make sure she comes to church. Like, no, I could come by myself if I wanted to, she would come. But yeah, I think, a lot of conversations I've had, like obviously I haven't had too many conversations and I'm not good with names. It was hard coming in here, like being introduced to so many people. And then we just get in the car, it's like, oh, what's that guy's name I was talking to? Like, it's like, oh, that's Kuya blah blah. And I'm like, oh, I thought that was, yeah, he's him too. I was like, what?
You know, you're not alone, because there's so many new people now that even I, like as one of the older people at church, I don't know people anymore. So it's a good problem.
And it's hard. I think you deal with that experience where everyone's like, hi Michael, hi. And I'm like, hey. But yeah, I can see where you guys come from when you mean family in church. I think the bond that you guys have outside of the church is what, you know, breeds that that family. The connection that you guys have outside, it's like, it's not like you walk in here and we're all here for church and then we go about our day acting like we don't know each other. So I think that's definitely what brings, you know, us together as a church, and it's more than just church.
It's genuine relationships, right?
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Shaz, you know, you have the photo of the youth, and you had your memories with church, growing up in church, and how even throughout your years of different journeys and seasons, that the fact that you're here today isn't just by accident, but it all links back to the moments where you actually spent time and you were surrounded by a family, Christian family and a Christian community, likewise for you. And that, I think it's a reminder for us, right, where a lot of us grow up in Christian communities and environments, but we often dread it, especially at a young age. But I think you guys are a living testimony, and a lot of us here are, that actually, even no matter how young we are and no matter if we're really having a proper experience or not, it's actually building a foundation in us, in you, in each of us, right, to even seek back and yearn back for what you feel like your soul's been yearning for. And like that foundation goes a long way.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think while I am proud to be part of my blood family, I'm also proud to have this family, this church family. And like I mentioned, it is a really big blessing to have that community behind me growing up in different seasons that I've gone through as a teenager, as a young adult, as an adult now, changing relationships outside of church, friendships, romantic business. Like, at the end of the day, I come back here and I'm still surrounded by the same energy and love and acceptance when I first attended my first youth camp. So yeah, like every time I come back here, whether consistently or not, like nothing feels different at all. And I think that's also kind of a metaphor as well in my relationship and my faith in God, that no matter how far I've gone, how distant I've become, whichever season that I'm in, I'll always come back and yearn for Him, and His arms are always going to be open. So yeah, and it's been good to also bring Michael to church and experience that in his own way. Obviously we share about our experiences, but for him, it's reassuring for me to know that he's been given that opportunity as well, and he's also just as privileged as I was, you know, being part of this church for a long time, and he's not an outsider or anything.
One of us now.
The favourite now.
Not going anywhere.
The favourite.
You're stuck here with us.
So yeah.
If I can ask you guys this one question, right, is, and you guys shared a glimpse of the struggles you faced, the losses, the pain, but what was one thing that held you guys in there?
Honestly, I would have to say my dad. My dad and I kind of shared the very similar upbringing. Obviously him dealing with it worse, and him overcoming it. So I think for him to allow me to understand, you know, I've been through it before. So, you know, these are the steps to take in order for you to keep moving forward. My dad's kind of had that connection with everyone in my family, and that's why everyone's always, you're so much like your dad, you're so much like your dad. So yeah, I would honestly have to say my dad. And my dad isn't like big on religion, but he's always, hey, did you pray for your food? So yeah, I would have to say my dad is someone I look up to, and someone that's always been by my side. And yeah,
I would say both my parents, but more specifically my mom, I guess, with, you know, when dad got blind, she had to take on this big role of being the head of the family, taking care and looking after my dad on the side with her full-time job, and also trying to, you know, when I was quite young when it happened, trying to nurture me as best as she could. And then when she would go through her own trials and, you know, challenges in her own journey, she still remained faithful and kept coming back. And I think yeah, I've never met such a resilient woman before. And yeah, I think her journey specifically has, in the last year anyway, with, you know, breast cancer and overcoming that, really changed a lot of my perspective of time with people, and my faith in particular, and what we've gone through as a family and how unique our family is. And to see that the uniqueness of my family is actually a blessing, because if they can overcome things, I can overcome things, and whatever I've gone through growing up, it doesn't hold me back from the many opportunities and the plans that God has for me. So I know that He's always got the best intentions for me, even if it's hard at times to see. But yeah, I'd say my mom is probably, like, or both of them, but my mom, I think she has probably been in the trenches a long time with what our family has gone through. And yeah, I hope one day to also be that example as well, and yeah, take after her.
You guys mentioned your father, your mother, and whether they are a Christian or not, or religious or not, I think they exemplify what our Heavenly Father exemplifies to us, right? Like just faithfulness, a trustworthiness, steadfastness, perseverance, even through the trenches and the difficulties, that they're always there for us, right? And I want to kind of ask you on the point where you said that you more so recently in the past year, maybe through your mum suffering with breast cancer, of you having this realization that time is limited, right? And not only with relationships but with faith. Like how did you come to process all that? What was it? Was it a thought?
It was a long process. Like, I think what she had gone through, I think my response and the way I processed what was happening took longer than expected, because maybe my anxiety at the time was trying to not, it was kind of suppressing it, because it was like, this is not about me, this is about mum, let's focus on her. But after her chemo and everything, I think I finally had the time to really understand, like, there's limited time, and my understanding of quality time has also changed. So, like, you know, spending time with her, being very intentional with what we do with our time together, also gave me that transferable perspective in my time with Michael, or my time with friends, or attending church, like just being very intentional. And I think because I've had that realization, it transferred the skills again to whoever I meet in my job, in my business, being intentional with that person. So the undivided attention, and in a way had made me think about, okay, well, how can I also transfer this understanding and realization in my relationship with God? How can I be intentional about seeking Him, whether it's like driving back from the gym and just praying, or just thinking about Him? Like, I count that as being intentional with my time. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, you know, I should have realized this ages ago, but things happen for a reason, and I'm a big believer in that. And I know that, you know, the learning opportunities from when things happen, they're always positive anyway. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, so it was a process, but yeah, like I mentioned, a year later, like, mum is finished her chemo, she's much happier with her time out of work, always going out, shopping, and, you know, happier. And it's just, a lot can happen in a year. And even so, a lot can happen in a few months, a few weeks, in a day. So I try to really remind myself, like, everything counts. So yeah.
And I think that's what Michael mentioned as well with your stepmother, the loss of your stepmother, and Shaz with your mum going through breast cancer. It's almost as if it's when you clash with this reality of, oh wait, like our life
It's
is
finite.
Yeah, our life is finite. That something within us as humans start to see beyond just the immediate and what's in front of us to something bigger. Just even by hearing your stories, I can see how God's transforming and using the broken pieces in your life, the losses, the pain, even the things that you may still be processing, that how He's turning that into something that can propel you forward. And yeah, it's just such a privilege to hear your stories.
Completely out of left field. What brings you joy now?
Is a lot of things. Quite a lot of small things that I can take from. I think just one of the many things is waking up and being grateful. Receiving a message from Sharyne every morning, reassuring me to have a good day even though I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I think being present with her parents always welcoming, always come and have dinner. So I think just being there for them and makes me super happy. So and alongside her, the rest of her family. Obviously, I don't have family here, so I think I take that as an advantage for myself to be able to. I have family here, so and then my friends and my faith. So I take like I said, I take very small amounts of joy from everything individually. So that's all.
I would be similar. Like, there are plenty of things that I'm joyful about in my life, but I think as of right now, honestly, like him sharing his story and to have been asked by Noah to be part of this, that really brought me joy, just because I've witnessed his entire journey, but hearing about his journey, and now that he is able to share his journey with you guys, I think to know that it's a blessing to know about his journey, and for him to share it with you guys, that brings me joy as well. And hopefully, as in the same light, he has blessed you guys in some way, shape or form. So I think, for me, honestly, this, and of course my family, but this is really, something that God has moved organically, and to be giving him an opportunity to be part of our church family and to be part of this, brings me a lot of joy. So
Michael and Sharyne, it's just such a pleasure, and I loved every second of hearing your stories and hearing a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily hear on a busy Sunday or a rushed conversation, right? Where we can just sit down and hear your story. And I'm sure that our whole church community, when they do get the chance to hear it, they will truly be blessed. And it's an ongoing story, right? It's not the end. We'll catch you guys soon.